Hi, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live Friday question and answer class, where I take your questions regarding American English pronunciation, intonation, and the American accent. I'll share with you free resources for American accent training from my website, speechmodification.com, and from my channel page, Speech Modification Seattle, here on YouTube. In today's class, I'd like to talk about words which are difficult to pronounce. So you can tell me your words that you find difficult to pronounce. I'll talk about some words that commonly many people find difficult to pronounce, even Americans. And we'll look at the patterns in those words, how to break those words down to pronounce them correctly, and then how to get those to be easier to say and use in your fluent speech. So feel free to ask your questions anytime in the chat. And if you're watching this as the replay, you can ask questions in the comments, and I will return to those questions and give you the answers in the comments. I often will direct you to resources for videos and information on the website I've already created. But if you ask me about something I haven't yet created, I might make a video for you as well. I get my best ideas for how to help people from your questions. So I appreciate you coming to class and asking questions. Please feel free at any time. I see someone is letting me know that the timing, yes. So one of my viewers in Pakistan is letting me know that it's quite late there. And I do understand that. Please feel free to just watch the replay later. You'll get lots of great information from that. I do have in my American Sounds Challenge classes, I often do those classes at an earlier time in the morning here in the Seattle area. This class is a lunchtime class for people in the US, and I realize that in some parts of the world it's quite late. So thank you for being with us, even though it's late in your time zone. So let's talk about why some words are difficult to say. Typically, when we have challenges with pronunciation, it has to do with which sounds are in the word. And then often it's the combination of sounds that are in the word. So you may have different American English sounds that you find difficult to pronounce correctly. Maybe the R sound or the TH sound, maybe some vowels. But usually if you work on individual sounds and words with those sounds, you can begin to pronounce those words correctly and have an easier time working on those sounds. I suggest to work on, if you know, okay, I struggle with the American R or I struggle with the American TH, work on that particular sound and those patterns by themselves first before you take on some of these more challenging words that have combinations of sounds. One thing I'm going to suggest for you is on my channel page, you can go to the playlists and you'll see that I have playlists for the vowel sounds, for all of the sounds of English, for American TH, American R. These videos will walk you through step by step how to establish a good American R, for example, how to put it into words, how to get it in your everyday speech. So we'll talk a little bit about some of that today, of course, while talking about words and answering your questions. But the fundamentals are all here for you, and I highly recommend using those. So let's talk about some words that have R that are particularly difficult. This week I was teaching some classes and I had several people ask me about certain words that they found challenging. And there was kind of a theme to those questions, and it was typically words that had multiple R sounds in the word. And this is something that if you have trouble saying a word that has just one R sound, it's going to be even more difficult when you're trying to say words that have multiple R sounds. So for example, someone was asking me about the word error, and there's a couple things going on with this word. So the word error has two R sounds, even though it's got three R letters, it's just two R sounds. And so sequencing those sounds is challenging. And then looking at the vowels, how to know what these two vowels say. I'm going to tell you, but I'm also going to show you that if you are uncertain about how to pronounce a word, there's a number of things you can do. Number one, I like looking up words in an online dictionary for two reasons. I can see how the word is pronounced. I can see what the stress pattern is in the word, and I can usually listen to the word, and that helps my brain hear the sounds in the word and pronounce it correctly. So the dictionary I tend to like to use is the Oxford Learner's Dictionaries, and I'll show you. We'll just look up this word error together in the Oxford Learner's Dictionaries. And so if I'm here in the dictionary, I just type in the search box. I'm going to type in the word error. And what I'll see is that it's going to show me both the British English pronunciation and the American English pronunciation. And so for some of you, you may have learned English from a British speaking teacher or have been taught in a country where the British pronunciation of English is taught rather than the American pronunciation. And of course, there's nothing wrong with using British English versus American English. That's your preference. If you're trying to speak with an American accent, or if you're speaking with a lot of Americans, what you just want to try to have is something that is standardized. So if you're jumping back and forth between British and American pronunciations of words, it can be a little confusing for your listener. So we'll listen to the American English pronunciation first. So I can click on the recording and it'll play it for me. Error. So she said error, same way I would say it. And then I can look at these symbols here and it's going to tell me what sounds are in the word. So the first sound is the eh sound, the a with the R. And then the second sound is a vowel schwa, which is the sound. So how does that work? What do I need to know about that? First of all, the beginning of error is just the same as though I were saying the word air. And if I break that down even more, it's an A vowel and an sound. But what I do is glide those together very quickly. So air. But if I have difficulty with that word, air, many people do, I want to just go slowly and glide from A to air. Then I can speed up, air, until that comes naturally to me. Again, like I mentioned before, if R is difficult for you, start with the basics and work on getting that established, strong American sound with your tongue in the back. Once you've gotten that, then begin these challenging words like error. Then the second syllable just sounds like air. So this is a word that I would recommend breaking into these two parts. Don't try to say the whole word at once at first, because your tongue will trip up. You'll say it the way you've always said it, which might be incorrect, and it'll be challenging. So what you want to think about is sometimes starting from the back can be useful. So if I just say that's my solid R sound. And then I can add the air. And then I can begin to glide those more quickly together until I'm able to say error. It would be an error to use an O sound in this word. There is no O sound, even though we spell that with letter R. Excuse me. There is no O sound in this word. And so when I wanted to let you know that I do have some videos about the letters OR and how they sometimes say or and how they sometimes say So for example, in the word or for or more, OR will say or. But in words like word and work and error, the OR says Again, I have a video kind of showing you which words do which, but I often will hear the error that people see the OR and think they need to make an OR sound with an O, and you don't. Hello, nice to see you, Habib. Please feel free to ask your questions about words that you find difficult to pronounce. I'll talk some more about additional words with R sounds and other sounds. So this week I was asked about error. Similarly, another word similar to error is the word mirror, also a little bit difficult to say because of the R's. So when I'm trying to say the word mirror, it's the same thing where my OR is going to just say mirror. And the first part, the M-I-R-R, is the same as this word, which maybe you know, mirror. It sounds like me-er. So just like error had two sounds in air, that I glide from me to in mirror. So me, if I have trouble with that, I'll just break it down. Me-er, me-er, mirror. And I want them to eventually to go into one sound together, mirror. And then I add the mirror, mirror. This is another word where the vowel spelling can be confusing, doesn't always help us know how to pronounce this word and which sounds to make. And then, of course, having the double R is challenging. One more word with double R's, the word career. This is an important word for a lot of people who are trying to go to job interviews, trying to promote themselves, talking over the phone about their career or career opportunities for other people. And so I want to make sure that you feel confident trying to say this word. So the word career, we're looking at the same thing where we're moving from one R to another R. And at the end, career, this one's a little different. So I don't have the at the end. I would say one of the confusing parts about this is the CA says ka. So in IPA, it looks like this, a K sound and a schwa, ka. And the stress in career is on the second syllable. So this syllable is long and this syllable is short. Career, career. This syllable just sounds like the word rear, which again might not be an easy word for you to say. So let's break that one down. It sounds like re-er. So to work on career, let's try all three parts separately. Ka-re-er. Then let's try from the end. We're going to glide them together more and more closely. Rear, 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 career. Okay, so yes. And then once you can say career by itself, it's important not to forget to practice trying these words in short phrases and in short sentences, and use them in the way that you would actually use them in real life. Once I can say career, it may still challenge me when I'm trying to talk in a job interview about what I'm looking for in my career. And so I need to practice speaking out loud, using that word in the contexts that I might be trying to say it. So let's just try a few phrases with career together to practice. Try career opportunities, a new career, a long career, a change in my career, a challenging career. So you get the idea. I can then, from those two-word phrases, begin to build more sentences, begin to practice for those speaking contexts where I know I'm going to have to use that word that's challenging for me. This is just a general approach to these difficult words and challenging words and how you can integrate them into your speech. Hi, Mary, nice to see you. What are some of the words that you find difficult to pronounce? Are there words with R or other words that challenge you? Feel free to ask those in the chat. I will also talk about some words that have both the R sound and the L sound. These can be challenging for people who have difficulties with either sound or with both sounds or with differentiating the two sounds. Hi, Anna, nice to see you. One of these words that has R and L that many people struggle with is the word really. And there are a few different ways that Americans pronounce really. You might notice in my speech, I tend to pronounce it like really, with the I vowel rhymes with silly, silly. So really, silly, or hilly. Now, you see that there is the word real in this word, and I can say really, really. But most Americans tend to shorten that. And so they don't always say really, really with 3 syllables. They tend to either say really or really with 2 syllables. So even though it has the word real in it, you don't want to say real with 2 syllables. You want to either say really or really. Sounds like this. Really or really. So the vowels can be challenging. Knowing how Americans say this word can be challenging. And then, of course, I have my R and my L in this word. How can I work on getting those R's and L's together in one word? Well, first of all, it's valuable to know how the R and the L sounds are made in the mouth. Here's an example of the R sound in some languages is made in the front, like r, really. In American English, we make it with the back of our tongue bunched up or the front of our tongue curled, but the back of our tongue has to be tight and against our teeth. So I start with the and then my L position in English looks more like this one. So I have to move from the back of my tongue to the front of my tongue. So really. And I can try just saying this word backwards. So try the li first. For most of you, that should be a little easier. Touch the tongue behind the teeth. Li. Then try li. Slowing down so to make sure you have the R and the L separate from one another. Now, for some speakers, R and L are difficult to differentiate, to hear the difference and produce the difference. And I have some videos that can help you with both of those sounds. I suggest working on L first and then trying to establish your R sound. Mary says, yesterday I had my first interview in my second language, and this Monday will be my first job as a dental assistant. I'm so happy. That's wonderful news. Thank you so much for being a part of class. I'm glad you find those helpful, and congratulations on your new job. I think that learning about what's going on in your speech, working on it, paying extra attention at times like job interviews, and when you have to give presentations or when you're meeting new people, can help you feel more confident in your English and can help you be better understood. And then you won't be judged on your accent, but rather on your good skills in your job and your knowledge. So congratulations to you. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, so really is an example of words with R and L. Another example of that would be a word like literally or girl or world. And for many, many of these words, I have made a video breaking down all of the steps. And how you can find those is by going to my website or my channel page and using the search tools. You can also send me an email or leave a comment and let me know, do you have something to help me with this particular word? And I'll direct you to where you can find it. I do have a lot of videos both on my website and my channel page, so I know it can be challenging to navigate through all of those and find them. Let me just show you how to search on my website, speechmodification.com, for what you might be looking for. And I recommend starting with my free practice and going to online practice free trial, because there you'll find many, many videos and lessons and also a search box there in the right-hand corner. So perhaps I want to look up the word girl. I struggle with that, pronouncing that correctly. I want to have a little bit of help. And the search will show me all of the lessons having to do with the word girl. So here's one, how to pronounce the word girl. Let's click on that. And there we have a video talking about girl. We have a text description, and then a link to more help for R's and for L's. And you can take it as far as you want and get a lot of help and information. So the search tools on speechmodification.com are your best friend for particular words and phrases. And of course, using the online dictionary is helpful too. The online dictionary is going to give you the basics, something to repeat, tell you what sounds are in the word. My videos will break it down even further and help you know how to correctly produce those sounds and sequence them, and then how to build that word into your vocabulary and into your speech while successfully pronouncing it. So let's take a look at what Anna has to say. How do you pronounce the word internet? Does it have a real T, flap T, or no T? great question. I can say internet with a real T, or that's called a plosive T, or a aspirated T. You'll find that many people, when there's an NT in the middle of words, in words like that begin with inter, will often just say internet. Internet. But what's happening here is actually not that I'm saying inner. I'm actually using the stopped T, internet. So my tongue goes from the N to that stop T position. There's a little break in my voice, and then I move right into the rest of the word, internet. If you say internet, it's clear, people understand it. It sounds a little bit more like British English, and sometimes it can sound less fluent if I'm talking about internet connectivity or internet sales. That word is less important than the next word. It's not stressed. And so I'm going to be moving quickly through the word and probably most of the time using that stop T. And you can find a pretty exhaustive list of what T says in the middle of words on my website and in my videos. So I have a series of videos about American T that tell you about T in the beginning, middle, and ends of words. So I'm just going to type in my search tools, American T, and I'll show you where you can find the list of words. So on the website, if I go to T in the middle of words, then I'll find the exercise. So here's the lesson: how Americans say T in the beginning, middle, and ends of words, and some other examples of what you pointed out, like internet. When there's an NT in the words, for example, words like counter, people will say counter rather than countertop. I might say countertop. Rather than international, I might say international. Representative, I might say representative. Identification, etc. So you'll see that T in the middle of words is sometimes flapped, like water, is sometimes stopped, like button, is sometimes aspirated, like guitar, and sometimes omitted or stopped, like counter, or your word, internet. Great question. Thank you so much, Anna. Okay, so we've covered some words with R and L, some combinations of words and sounds that are difficult. We've looked at some of the words you have in mind. Please feel free to ask your questions if you have additional words you'd like to have help with. And I want to let you know about a few things coming up here in Seattle. So if you're in this area, I am teaching some 6-week fundamental courses here in Bellevue. The first round of those courses is starting on Saturday, tomorrow morning at 9:15, and that will be in Bellevue. These courses are 6 weeks long, 1 hour a week. I have one on Saturday, Tuesday morning, and Wednesday evening. And in the course, you're going to learn the fundamentals of what you need for improving your pronunciation and overall American accent training. So I hope you can join me for that. If you're not here in the Seattle area, which I know many of you are not, I do have an online version of this course, and you can find that on my courses page. And at the moment, you can get a free trial of any of my online courses. Just go to speechmodification.com, and when you're at the top, click on courses. It'll take you to my courses page. And the course I recommend starting with is our 6-week course, because this one walks you through the steps of training. It highlights the most important patterns. So you'll learn about American R, you'll learn about TH, vowels, you'll learn what affects most non-native speakers of English in terms of pronunciation and accent. And it gives you really good resources, lots and lots of videos. It has MP3s that you can download for practice offline. And it has quizzes and teaches you to give yourself feedback and to hear those changes that you're making in your speech. So You can get a free trial of that for 2 weeks, and it's only $5 a month if you would like to purchase it and give it a try. Of course, check out my other online classes too as well, but the 6-week course is great to start. And if you're here in the Seattle area and you join our group classes, you'll also get access to the online materials for practice outside of class. So I hope you can be here for that. We will be continuing the American Sounds Challenge, where we're looking at each sound in American English and giving you information about the accent error patterns you might have on that sound and how to correct them. And the next Sounds Challenge class will be on Monday at 10:30 Pacific time, and we'll be talking about the CH sound, so the sound that's in words like each and catch and choose. So we'll talk about the errors you may have on that sound and tell you how to correct them, how to practice to improve. And if you're interested in checking out the previous American Sounds Challenge classes, I do have a playlist with all of the classes, and you can start at the beginning and work your way through. Or you can go and find the sounds that you have difficulty with and just focus on those sounds. So I hope you can be a part of that class on Monday. And of course, I'll be back next Friday at 12 o'clock with our live question and answer class, taking your questions about pronunciation and American accent training. Hope you can join me for that. Thanks for being a part of class today and for your questions. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com.